Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about depression versus sadness, and before we get into this topic, I just want to say that these are still only my opinion. I'm not a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist. These are just my own opinions on these two different topics. And before we get into the video, don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. So first, let's start off with talking about what depression and sadness are separately. First off, depression is a disease. It is a chemical imbalance that happens where you don't produce enough serotonin, and if you don't know what serotonin is, it is a kind of like happy chemical. Basically, depression is not producing enough of that, and sadness is an emotion that, in my opinion, is caused due to something traumatic happening in that person's life, for example, like grief. And I feel, the reason of me making this video is because a lot of people kind of morph these two separate things together, and when people say, depression, when they talk about depression, they talk about it as like another form or a fancy way of talking about being sad, which that's not what it is at all. Sadness is a symptom of depression, so they have similar feelings, but they're not the same thing. And depression is in no way a fancy way of talking about being sad. Depression is a actual disease of the mind, and it can affect you physically also. I know that a lot of people tend to, when they think of depression or they think of somebody that has depression, they think of this person just only ever sleeping, having no friends, getting bad grades, not participating in sports or being active in their life, just having no motivation, which this can be true, but you also have this other way that depression affects people. And the other way is that you may know somebody that has depression that is the happiest, nicest, straight A student, all-star athlete, has all these, friends and hangs out with them all the time, is constantly being active in their life. You have depression affecting people in different ways because every person is different, and it's not going to affect everyone the same way. You have to realize that just having depression, that doesn't mean that you're just always going to be tired. Somebody with depression could have a lot of energy also. It just depends on the person. And that's why I think it's also important to be checking in on friends or loved one if you know that they have depression, which some people may not even say that they do. I think that has to do a little bit with society and the way that they've kind of stereotyped depression. And I think the stereotype of it is that depression, for the people that don't believe in it, they think it's something obviously that's not real, something that people make up when they want to get out of something or they want more attention in their lives, which that's not true. Nobody wants to have depression. It's a bunch of negative feelings. It's basically you being your worst enemy and constantly hating yourself, and then put on top of that feeling empty, feeling numb. Society hasn't been very educated on depression or mental illness, altogether. And right now I'm just talking about clinical depression, but there's this whole stereotype on mental illness, which that's a whole nother thing. But for right now, I just want to be able to bring to light that line between sadness and depression. And even though sadness is a symptom of depression, that doesn't mean that they are the same thing. They are different things. One of them, is a disease that can also kill people. Suicide is something that is associated a lot with depression. Self-harm is also, I'm not going to talk too much in depth about self-harm, but you know, there are healthy ways to be able to manage your depression. And I know right now there's a lot going on in the world, so worrying about yourself and your mental health is not something that's on your top priority when, you know, you think about you have to pay bills, you have to find a job, or there's somebody out there that probably has it worse off than you. Why are you going to focus on yourself? But, you know, I think that you should always have yourself on the top 5 lists of things to get done. You need to be able to check in with yourself, because if you're not checking in with how you're mentally feeling, especially right now, then you're just gonna fall through the cracks and you're gonna get worse. You know, you're not gonna be able to manage feeling happy or being able to even talk about how you're feeling. I feel a lot of the time with depression, it's very hard to put in the way that you are feeling into words, and that can be very difficult when I think, you know, talking about it is one of the most important things. And having so much go on in your mind, it's difficult to put that into words. And most of all, to, you know, whether you're writing it down, how you're feeling, or telling someone, you know, you have to be able to trust that person. And it's hard to trust somebody with all that negativity and with those innermost darkest secrets about, or just thoughts about yourself. I think also, why do I always say I think? I'm so sorry. I know that a lot of people also, when they do open up, they have a bad experience talking with whoever it is that they were talking to, and instead of feeling a weight off their chest, they feel like they're a burden, because this person that they thought that they could trust and open up to ended up just making them feel like they're a Debbie Downer, and that, you know, you should be happy, you have all these good things going on in your life. But it's not about that. Like, you could have everything in your life, and if you have depression, it won't matter. And I think that's where a lot of people also don't understand that aspect, because there's probably people out there in the world that are like, if this person's a millionaire but they have depression and they're not happy, like, why wouldn't you be happy? You have all this money, you can do anything you want with your life, but you're still not happy. And that has nothing to do with the outer materialistic things of their life. It has to do with what's going on in their mind. You know, there's a lot going on in there, and they just, you know, you've never dealt with it. You've never sat down and really just sat with yourself. When you hate yourself, when you're the person that is your own worst enemy, it's very difficult to be happy in life, because this is the only body that you have, and if you don't like it, you're never gonna be happy. There's a lot that goes on with depression, you know, it goes in and out of remission. You have good days, good years, bad ones, and that sort of thing. But it takes a while to manage it and to live with it in a healthy way, but that is possible. And especially right now, I think we should all be checking in on each other, seeing if this person's doing okay. And people tend to say, oh yeah, I'm doing fine, even though you're not doing fine, because society has told you that if you open up about your feelings, you're weak, you're too concerned about yourself, and, you know, you're selfish, and there's a lot going on in the world. There's other people dying, and you're gonna be talking about yourself so much. But there is a line, you know, of where that selfishness kind of comes into play. But talking about yourself, wanting to work on yourself, wanting to take care of yourself and help yourself, that's not selfish, that's self-love. and people might have their own opinions on everything that I'm saying. That's totally, you're entitled to your own opinions. That's great. Awesome. These are my opinions, and you know, I want people that have depression to feel supported and to feel and to know that they are loved, and I want to be able to help them to work on managing their depression in a healthy way. You know, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know everything, but I think it's important to listen to those people and to hear them out and to not make them feel like everything that they're saying makes them a weirdo. Just because somebody's energy doesn't match yours doesn't mean that they shouldn't exist, you know? We shouldn't let our depression control yourself, you know? Don't let it control you, but also don't suppress everything that you're feeling. You know, it's important to talk about it and to heal yourself. You know, if you have a loved one that is suffering from depression, you know, be there for them, support them. But at the end of the day, you know, it's up to them to want to get better and to want to help themselves. I really hope that this video makes sense, because I feel like I've recorded this video a couple of times and I feel like it's all over the place, and I feel like my point is just not coming across. I wanted to be able to help people that don't believe in depression to understand it a little bit better, and to realize that, or at least to keep an open mind that it is a real disease, and not to just totally write it off and never hear somebody out that is dealing with depression. I feel like it's hard to want to talk about negative feelings, because you know, you don't want to deal with that. Everyone just wants their life to be constantly going up, and when you have to take a breather and stop, and all this negativity is being brought into your life, then you know, that sucks, and nobody wants to have to deal with that. They just want to be having more good in their life, but our lives are not like that. That's not life. Life is up and down, you know, and it's learning to handle those ups and downs in a healthy way, and it's learning to support one another. That's what this world needs in so many different aspects, with so many different things going on. The world is quite divided, and we just need to be able to be kind to one another, and to not just hate people for being them. Like, yeah, that's just, I just don't understand that, but that's not the point of this video. Anyways, I hope, you know, whoever is watching this, you know, you feel a little bit of support from me, and I hope that I actually made sense, because I feel like I totally wasn't, but hopefully I was. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and yeah.